Israel kicks as United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. Affirm Palestinian State. The Israeli government is furious that the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia have recognized a Palestinian state, saying it may be the best way to peace. Canada was the first G7 member to recognize, followed by Australia, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer revealed it in a social media video on Sunday. Starmer said it keeps alive the possibility of peace and that the UK will keep fighting to bring Israeli hostages home. On Sunday, Prime Minister Mark Carney said, Canada does so as part of a coordinated international effort to preserve the possibility of a two-state solution. Australia recognized a Palestinian state on Sunday after Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the Palestinian Authority reiterated its support for Israel's right to exist. Israel's foreign ministry said, recognition is nothing but a reward for jihadist Hamas. In an open letter to Starmer, Gazan family said the honor complicates efforts to bring home our loved ones. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy told the BBC, now is the time to stand up for a two-state solution. However, hostage family called Starmer's action a betrayal. The body of Adam Mayannit's cousin was returned this year. Adam called Starmer's move betrayal. We recently got a statement from Adam Mayannit, whose relative Sachi Eden was taken hostage by Hamas in Gaza. One of 4 Israeli hostages killed by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian detainees in February was Eden. He calls Keir Starmer's announcement a few hours ago nothing less than a betrayal of the captives and their families. Instead of using Britain's influence to force Hamas to release the hostages, they reward them with the fruits of October 7th, they stated. 20 of Hamas's 48 hostages in Gaza are believed to be alive.
Sir Keir Starmer is expected to formally announce the UK's recognition of a Palestinian state in a major change to UK foreign policy. It would make Britain the first G7 country to move towards full recognition, with France and other nations expected to follow suit at the UN General Assembly in the coming week. The Prime Minister promised the move 2 months ago unless Israel took substantive steps, including reaching a ceasefire in Gaza. Downing Street instead believes the situation in the territory has worsened as Israel intensifies its Gaza offensive, triggered by Hamas's unprecedented attack on southern Israel on October the 7th, 2023. The move has been criticised by the Israeli government. In the past few minutes, we've had some comments from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This is what he said. We will have to fight both at the UN and in all other arenas against the false propaganda directed at us and the calls to establish a Palestinian state, which would endanger our existence and constitute an absurd reward for terrorism. He went on to say the international community will hear from us on this matter in the coming days.
It means Hamas can have no future, no role in government, no role in security. We have already prescribed and sanctioned Hamas, and we will go further. I have directed work to sanction other Hamas figures in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, the man-made humanitarian crisis in Gaza reaches new depths. The Israeli government's relentless and increasing bombardment of Gaza, the offensive of recent weeks, the starvation and devastation are utterly intolerable. Tens of thousands have been killed, including thousands as they tried to collect food and water. This death and destruction horrifies all of us. It must end. We have evacuated the first group of sick and injured children to the United Kingdom to be treated by the NHS, and we continue to increase our humanitarian support. But still, nowhere near enough aid is getting through. We call again on the Israeli government to lift the unacceptable restrictions at the border, stop these cruel tactics, and let the aid surge in. With the actions of Hamas, the Israeli government escalating the conflict, and settlement building being accelerated in the West Bank, the hope of a two-state solution is fading. But we cannot let that light go out. That is why we are building consensus with leaders in the region and beyond around our framework for peace. This is a practical plan to bring people together behind a common vision and a series of steps, including the reform of the Palestinian Authority, that takes us from a ceasefire in Gaza to negotiations on a two-state solution. We will keep driving this forward. As part of this effort, I set out in July the terms upon which we would act in line with our manifesto to recognise Palestinian statehood. That moment has now arrived. So today, to revive the hope of peace and a two-state solution, I state clearly, as Prime Minister of this great country, that the United Kingdom formally recognises the State of Palestine. We recognised the State of Israel more than 75 years ago as a homeland for the Jewish people. Today, we join over 150 countries who recognise a Palestinian state also, a pledge to the Palestinian and Israeli people that there can be a better future. I know the strength of feeling that this conflict provokes. We have seen it on our streets, in our schools, in conversations we've had with friends and family. It has created division. Some have used it to stoke hatred and fear, but that solves nothing. Not only must we reject hate, we must redouble our efforts to combat hatred in all its forms. We must channel our efforts, united together in hope, behind the peaceful future that we want to see. The release of the hostages, an end to the violence, an end to the suffering, and a shift back towards a two-state solution as the best hope for peace and security for all sides.
This news is reaching you from Ogulaga Vanguards Limited, the true face of Niger Delta. We tell your story better.